and we have seen cases where somebody has sought alternative heat sources within a home that they don't have authorization to be in, and caught fire to the house and damaged neighboring houses, which has the potential to put multiple people out of their homes. So it's very important. Next up, two things on the topic of trash. One, Bobby Joe has volunteered to be our dumpster coordinator. So if anybody, we're entitled to, as a community association, we're entitled to 4 dumpsters a year. Traditionally, we have had 2 on the east side of the or 1 on the east side of the neighborhood and 1 on the west side of the neighborhood. In the spring, the week before the wine festival, of course, we haven't had a wine festival since pre-COVID. But the idea there is to clean up the block around the wine festival so it looks good when we have the people come and attend our events. And we would also set up one on the west side of the neighborhood. And we can do that 2 times a year and have a dumpster on each side of the year for, residential household goods can go in these dumpsters. There are limitations, no paint, no batteries, things of that sort. But if you want to clean out your basement, it's a good opportunity for it. And if you want a dumpster on your block, again, email highlandtown21224@gmail, and I will get it to Bobby Joe, and I will get a request into DPW to have that dumpster at a site. The more advance notice we get, the better off we're going to be. We tried to get one recently, and we were about 6 weeks out, and we were unable to get it because that particular weekend was booked up. So if you want a dumpster, get in early. Please make the ask. Talk to your neighbors and see if they want one, on your block or in your side of the community. Next up on trash, there will be a community cleanup on July 9th. And the focus is going to be on the Conkling Street corridor. This cleanup is being organized by the Southeast Community Development Corporation. There is a volunteer group, I forget what they're called, but it has something to do with on tap and beer drinking. And as you might imagine, there will be an event afterwards. So the cleanup will be from 10 until 1. We will meet at the Conkling Street Community Garden, which is at 25 South Conkling Street. There will be some snacks, some water, some gloves, and some light tools. And the focus will be, there will be projects within the garden. There will be projects along the entire South Conkling Street corridor. This group intends to bring roughly 75 volunteers from outside of the neighborhood. Really, there's going to be a lot of people who come out for this thing through this organization that sponsors this kind of thing. They do these things citywide. They were locked down to July 9th because they have other cleanups the following and the previous weekends. As a result, we could not get a dumpster for it. But there will be pickup points all along the route, and the city will come out with dump trucks and pick up whatever we put out. This is not intended to be a clean out your basement day. This is intended to be come out and clean up your neighborhood day. So again, the focus will be on the Conkling Street corridor, which is somewhat problematic, and there will be projects within the Conkling Street garden. I suspect it will include spreading of dirt because we're getting ready to plant grass seed, and I think there are some gardens, some raised beds that need some attention, and there will be a lot of projects there. But there's also going to be a lot of people from outside the neighborhood and an after party at a place to be determined. Monument City was suggested, but apparently Monument City was one of their recent previous after parties. So I don't think it'll be there, but it'll be somewhere, I don't know, Mobtown. I had suggested Old Line Distillery is a possibility. So, there's a number of places. It'd be nice to have a place that has, outside space if we want it, inside space if we need it, and can house a lot of people because there's, potentially going to be 100 plus people there. So I hope people will come out for that on July 9th at 10 o'clock. Keith and/or Sarah, do you want to talk about the basement bar tour?
Hello. So once again, I'm up here asking of you. All right, so I'm up here to talk about the Basement Bar Tour. It is our annual house tour of Highlandtown, and we are currently looking for hosts. We're always looking for hosts. To give you a little background on what the event is, it is a 4-hour time span in which all of our attendees that show up get a little map, and on the map there are stars denoting all of the houses that our hosts and our volunteers are offering up for the day. The attendees then bounce from house to house, and we ask each host to provide some kind of alcoholic beverage and some kind of small food. So it just kind of winds up being like a house party covering 30 blocks. Our attendees are always super respectful. We've never had any issues with problems being caused in the homes, et cetera, et cetera. We also focus on businesses. They join in on the fun as well. And I wasn't entirely prepared for this, so what am I missing? 21 and over. And this year we're going to be holding it on November 12th. So we're just kind of getting things ramped up now. We're sending our stuff out. We're kind of gathering up volunteers, hosts, things like that. So you'll be hearing me spout this off pretty much at every meeting that we have between now and that date, and you're going to see a lot of emails. Stuff will probably be put on the website, things of that nature. That sound about wrapped up?
Do you have a date yet?
Sorry, yeah, November 12th. And you can reach us at Highlandtown Basement Bar Tour at gmail.com with any questions or requests for hosting or whatever that might be. As we get a little bit closer to the date, we will start disseminating information on ticket sales, things like that. We also have a Facebook page at Highlandtown Basement Bar Tour on Facebook. I think that covers it. Thank you.
So for those who've never attended before, it is a super fun event, and you can tour around the neighborhood, meet your neighbors, and we always have a lot of people who come from out of town. So it's great exposure for the neighborhood. It's good for the health of the neighborhood when people come out and they, see happy people out having good times, and they get to snoop in other people's homes and say that's a good idea, and take back lots of favorable opinions about the neighborhood, and maybe some of them will buy a house here or tell their friends, you should look at Highlandtown. So it's really good for all of us to do that kind of thing. It is one of our 2 big fundraisers. Obviously, these have been put on hiatus for a couple of years. The Basement Bar Tour is one of them, will be in the fall. The wine festival is in the spring. We have now, will this be 3 years without a wine festival? Yeah. 3 years without a wine festival. That has been the big one for a number of years. Di Pasquale's has been a big part of that since well before my time in the neighborhood. But Joe Di Pasquale, in spite of the fact that they have moved to a new location in Canton, Joe Di Pasquale has indicated that they are all in for the wine festival and for the Basement Bar Tour moving forward. So they will have some sort of presence. I'm sure it will be at the site of the old location. And when I talked to Joe a couple of weeks ago, he said that it's going to provide him with a little bit of motivation to have something established in the old Di Pasquale's space, as far as like a retail restaurant, something that would be part of the Di Pasquale's family. And I'm sure that's where they will, participate in all the things that they assist us with. So looking forward to that. Last month I mentioned that the Enoch Pratt Free Library is going to be setting up a series of free pantries around the city. I presume it's a citywide thing. Ours will be managed out of the Southeast Anchor Library. The free pantries I sort of envision as looking like larger versions of the free libraries. There's one out on the side street here beside the church, and any number of other ones around the Southeast Baltimore, and I know we've all seen them. And I suspect the free pantry will look something like that, that will provide people who are less fortunate with a place to pick up some, canned goods and some other things that will be sort of a, judgment-free zone for people who need some help. The free pantry program will be looking for volunteers. If you are interested, and I don't know exactly what that entails, to be honest, but if you are interested in helping out with the project or learning more, email me again, highlandtown21224@gmail, put food pantry or something in the header, and I will forward that to Brant Fisher, who is managing the program, at least here in the Southeast, and he will be collecting a list of names and will communicate. So it's not officially an HCA event, but or a project, but it concerns us all. And we've had a lot of support from the people that we've talked to at this event. We are actually a good bit ahead of schedule. I think I have one more thing. Well, first off, Nick, I know you're Frazone, you're here. If anybody has anything regarding social media, I just want to point out that Nick Frazone handles our social media items, and as with the other things, if you want something posted within the that pertains to the community, it comes to me at highlandtown21224@gmail, and I will get it to Nick, and he will put things up, and we coordinate pretty well most of the time to get what you need up there. And if you have something that you would like up on the web page, John Eddy is right here, and John manages the web page, and usually anything that we share amongst ourselves goes up on at both places, and for everybody to see. So if anybody has an event or something that they feel is going to be of interest to everybody else in the community, this is how we do it, and these guys will make sure that it happens. I think almost lastly on my part, before I open the floor for comments, there is another grant opportunity that's coming to the neighborhood. This one it's put out by Baltimore City. It's called Love Your Block Grant. It is designed that anybody, anywhere in the city could submit for this. So you don't necessarily need the support of a community association to get in on it. I have not seen the application yet because it has not been posted yet. It will go live on June 27th, so like a week out. But anybody in the community who has a project or something they'd like to see on their block or their side of the neighborhood or whatever can submit for this grant, which has anywhere from $500 to $1,500 that can go towards your block project. So if you want it, again, you can email me the inquiry at highlandtown21224@gmail, and I will get everything out to you that you need to apply for. Again, I haven't seen the grant application because it's not been posted yet. I don't know if our 501c3, our tax exempt status, will be helpful, but there may very well be a line on there that says, do you have the support of a community association if there is one in your area? And, odds are you will. If you use our 501c3, you're going to have to come through us so that we can kind of float it to the group or, vet the project a little bit and make sure that we find that it's, up to our standards. But I don't expect anybody's going to bring anything to us that's not going to be up to our standards. So There's an opportunity for that. Individuals on their individual blocks will be required to do their own grant submittal. Again, this is not a project of the Highlandtown Community Association, but we can help support you. So, be prepared to do your own grant writing work. When I did the grant for the Gail Adams tree pit grant, it was super easy. So it shouldn't be daunting, but some grant writing can be, I think. So if you need any help with it, we can probably find somebody who can help, tighten things up and answer any questions about the grant writing process, because literally I've done one. So it may not be me, but I can answer some questions or find somebody who can. But it will be your responsibility on your block to do your own grant application. We have 2, possibly 3 people within the community association who have expressed interest in doing things, and all 3 of those projects will be in competition with each other. I have no clue how much competition there will be, but there will be competition for these. And just be aware, if you're going to put something forward, put together a good project, I'm sure they're going to want a budget and some other things. So be aware you're in competition with people citywide and at least 1, maybe 2 others within the community. So that's how that's going to work. Blockenstein, John, again, do you want to say a few words, or just a thank you, or?
It was really a good event. It went really well. People were happy. Weather was perfect. Sellers were happy. They seemed to sell a lot of stuff. There was a good flow of traffic throughout the day, and I was thrilled.
Yeah,
Went well.
it went well. So, exactly. Thank you, John. Thanks to everybody else who was involved with that. I know Kat was involved to some extent, I believe, and Agnes Arnold and others. So, and Sue Allenback, and kind of a cast of usuals from over on that side of the neighborhood. And it's a super cool event, and it reflects well on the community. And I'm always like trying to push things forward that present us in a good light and bring people out to meet their neighbors. So all right, so I am going to open the floor for comments. Anybody have any announcements from the floor? No? All right, so we are a good bit ahead of schedule. It is 7:30. We have one presenter tonight. It is going to be the Maryland Transit Administration to discuss some changes that are coming, and I believe our presenter is actually outside presenting to another event. She's literally outside presenting to another event because I told her she'd be on at roughly 7:40, and it is exactly 7:30. So we are a little bit ahead of schedule. If anybody has anything to flesh out. Oh, we have somebody in the chat. All right, so there's a new, it's a business, right?
Yeah. Hey, good evening. We can talk on it.
Oh,
That's
there we go.
all right. Yeah. Could I ask for a quick mic check? Sound okay?
You sound good. You're on.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm Forrest. My wife Megan is here with me. We're looking to open a business in Highlandtown, and we figured that the community association was an organization that we should probably get in touch with. Make sure that we are in touch with you, that you are aware of what we're doing. We open ourselves up to any input from you, and we can keep in touch in the future. Sorry.
And address any concerns you may have.
Yeah. So any input that you guys have, any concerns that you guys have, we're hoping to make ourselves available for things like that. So We're looking to open up a dog kennel up in the Highland Town Village Shopping Center. And right now we're kind of in the beginning stages of opening this business. So website is still under construction, social media is still under construction, and we're still in negotiations for the lease. But yeah, we just wanted to take a couple of brief minutes. I'm not sure if it's appropriate for us to present a short presentation that we made. Is that okay?
We are a little ahead of schedule, so if you have something to offer, feel free. Go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. Just wasn't sure if sharing screen through Zoom was something we were set up for or not.
All right, we've got our tech support team trying to
Yeah.
get you, give you some kind of access. But I do remember talking with you via email, so give them a second
Yeah, that's
here and we can put something up. Oh, we're good. You're live.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Megan. Megan's going to actually be the director and the general manager once we open up for business. So she's going to run through
Yeah.
this short presentation.
Hi, so you can see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? We're good. Okay, awesome.
Yes, you're good.
So like you said, this is us, the Warman family. We moved to Baltimore in 2017. We have 2 rescues, Hilo and Kona, and we have a recent addition, our little baby girl. We are hoping to be your neighbor at the Highlandtown Village at 3800 East Lombard. We do hope to use the inside and the outside of the space. If you haven't seen what a dog daycare kennel looks like, they've gotten pretty fancy, pretty modern. Here's some pictures of what we're kind of looking to do. Big wide open spaces, large agility equipment, fenced areas. And we do know that it may affect Highlandtown. We want to address any concerns you guys might have. We do understand that dogs do make a little bit of noise, but we do plan on really mitigating that. The outside area would only be utilized during the day. Inside area, we're looking at making spaces where it's quieter, and we have a lot of buffer with the parking lot and the back door area. It may also bring in some traffic, but we do think the roads and the parking lot can accommodate that. We're also hoping that we will be peeling off some interest from the Canton Crossing neighborhood and that big shopping center and bringing some of that hopefully to the Highlandtown neighborhood. And we're hoping to be just involved. We would love to be a volunteer for this Baltimore basement bar crawl. I've never heard of that. That sounds great. If you guys have any questions or concerns for us, please let us know. We're in the early stages of our negotiations and our planning, but we wanted to get in touch with you guys. We are involved with our own neighborhood association here in Canton, and we do know the importance of having a good working relationship and being a good neighbor.
Questions or comments from the floor? Honestly, I think it's great, and that area, I mean, you're far enough off of a residential area and back across the parking lot. I don't see an adverse scenario at all for residents of Highlandtown. But you know, we'll let everybody speak their piece should they have any concerns. But I am looking forward to having you as neighbors. As far as the basement bar tour goes, there may be, you know, we have had businesses who are participating at some level. So you can reach out to us that way. And, you know, I mean, if you guys want to do, you know, an open house, we can't offer, as a commercial business, we can't offer the stipends and such that we offer to homeowners who open their houses. But personally, I don't think there's any reason you shouldn't be on our you know, walking tour map and say, you know, check this out. So always excited to see new businesses in the neighborhood, and particularly excited to see somebody new over in that area. So yeah, welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we wanted to get on your agenda for this meeting. I think we might not have actually made it on the agenda. There was a couple of community association members over at the space the other day. I'm not sure who they were. It was the leasing agent and the owner that mentioned that you guys had already stopped by and asked questions about what we were doing. So that's how we kind of got let know about the community association, and we made sure to get on your next meeting. We're looking to open before the holiday season this year, especially when people start going out of town. They're going to need space to leave their pups with someone who can make sure they're good while they're on various vacations and things like that. So we understand your next meeting isn't until September, and hopefully we'll be back around then with a lot more to show you guys.
Yeah. And I think we left just enough time for your next presenter without going over. Thank you for letting us talk.
All right, super. Thank you, and welcome again. All right, so if there's anything else from the floor, this is the last chance to raise your hand for open floor session. Ms. Joy?
Thank you, Brian. I just want to say I'm so happy to be here tonight because I love this church so much. And I love what this church means to the community. And I love Pastor Mark. Where's Pastor Mark? I see you, Pastor Mark.
So Ms. Joy is putting out her, for those who couldn't hear her, Ms. Joy is putting out her, endorsement and her appreciation for the use of this space. This is our second meeting ever at Breath of God Church. Previously, we were meeting at another church. Pastor Parker is a member of the board here. For a number of years, there was a discussion about moving here, and then we went for a 2-year period where we had no live meetings. So it seemed like if we were ever going to make a change, this was the opportunity to do it. And in this particular case, because this sanctuary, this is why we're meeting in a sanctuary, because this sanctuary is outfitted for a hybrid meeting, it's allowing us to do this. So yeah, like Ms. Joy says, thanks to Breath of God Church and to Pastor Parker for making this facility available to us and for helping us to do something that really wasn't on our radar before, which was to do a hybrid meeting. So yeah, it's a big, big help for us. So if nobody else has anything, I'll bring up MTA. Come on up. We do have a PowerPoint presentation here, so bear with us while we get this going.
Very good. All right, thank you. Well, thanks all for inviting us to your meeting today. I'm Catherine Henley. I'm with MTA in the planning division, and I'm the project manager for the Eastern Bus Division reconstruction project. The Eastern Bus Division is not directly in Highlandtown, but it is down Eastern Avenue in Greektown, so not too far away. And MTA is very excited about this project because it's a huge investment in green energy and part of the larger conversion to electric buses that we are initiating pretty soon. I guess before we get started, does anyone need Spanish translation? Because we do have a Spanish translator here if needed. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. I can kind of see it through here, so we're good. All right, so you can go ahead and flip to the next slide. So a little bit of background on the Eastern Bus Division. It is a bus maintenance and operations facility in Greektown. You can see the context map here. It's right off of Eastern Avenue at the crossroads of Ponca. Ponca's on the east, Oldham Street's on the west, and Lombard Street is to the north. It's right by the I-895 ramp, which is maybe some of the best context. So the bus facility has been operating in Greektown since the 1930s, so it's about 85 years old now, reaching the end of its useful life and in pretty poor condition. It's one of MTA's 4 bus divisions, so out of its fleet of over 700 buses, this one operates around 170 buses currently, and the MTA is looking to fully rebuild it as a brand new bus division. Next slide, please. Zooming out to some of the greater context of this, MTA is, like I said, converting half of its fleet to zero emissions buses by 2030 as part of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Act plan. That's about 380 buses. And then by 2040, the Regional Transit Plan has established a goal to convert 95% of buses to zero emissions buses. So right now that's looking like mostly battery electric, but there's also a study that's being done to look at hydrogen-powered buses as well, which is something that is an emerging technology. For the Eastern Bus Division, we're just doing battery electric buses, so it'll be fully electric when it opens. Looking at the phasing plan for converting to zero emissions buses, we're actually the third division that's going to have electric buses. The first is the Kirk division, which was fully recently fully rebuilt as well, but they're going to be retrofitting that with some electric chargers. And then Northwest up in West Baltimore, and then Eastern is going to be the third one after that with a target date of opening of 2028. And I'll go through more of the schedule later in the presentation as well. So the purpose of the project, like I said, is to support the overall conversion to electric buses within MTA. This is going to include space for charging, bus maintenance, storage, and operations of the electric bus fleet. Electric buses have different requirements than diesel buses do, so a lot of electrical load requirements. We're going to have to upgrade the electrical infrastructure at the site, and just different maintenance requirements as well. The second is to address the basically the old and poor condition bus facility that is currently there. So since it is over 80 years old, the bus division definitely needs to be rebuilt. So that's the second purpose, and then the third is to improve the roadway. So Ponca Street is overbuilt currently. We've done a traffic study, and it looks like we can convert to 1 lane per direction for that. So looking at the components of the new Eastern Bus Division, it's going to be a brand new facility, basically fully demolishing what's currently on the site and rebuilding. There are going to be spaces for 190 buses, maintenance, and charging. We're going to reorient the bus entrance. Currently it's on a residential street, and we're going to take it off of Oldham Street and put it onto Ponca Street because we don't want the buses in the community impacting the neighborhood. So all of the bus and truck traffic are going to be on that industrial street on the highway side. Fourth, we're going to have a LEED Silver facility. So we're going to have several sustainability elements, including solar panels, looking at efficient HVAC systems and green roofs. And then finally, there will be on-site employee parking. And I know a lot of people in the immediate community in Greektown wanted to get some of the employees parking on the facility rather than on the street. So that's a big benefit in our eyes as well. So here's a little snapshot of the layout of the site. So you can see there's a transportation and maintenance building on one side, a bus storage building that's going to have the 190 buses on the other side, and then the entrances are going to be on Ponca Street, so over on that I-895 side of things. So all of the bus and truck traffic is away from the community itself. Looking at the benefits of the project, we're going to have, since we're going to have all electric buses, they're going to be cleaner and quieter. No more diesel buses at the Eastern Bus Division. They're going to be the sustainability elements that we're very excited about, including the solar array. A dedicated bus entrance that's not on the residential street. We're going to be upgrading definitely the Eastern and Ponca Street intersection, and potentially also the Oldham and Eastern intersection. So those will be more safe for pedestrians and also just better condition than they are today. Like I mentioned, the on-site employee parking will have improved sidewalks and crosswalks, and it'll just overall be a better facility for MTA staff. So those who provide us transit service every day. Now here, it gives an overview of the changes to the roadway. So this is just on Ponca Street. Currently an industrial roadway, pretty poor condition, 2 lanes in each direction. What the future design is 1 lane per direction. In some locations there will be a turn lane. So there will be a turn lane into the bus facility so the buses aren't obstructing traffic, and there also will be a turn lane onto 895 ramp. There will be pedestrian safety improvements, and then, like I said, the upgrades to the Eastern Avenue intersection with Ponca Street as well. Looking at the project schedule, these kind of projects do take a very long time. So currently we're in the planning and concept design, and we'll be continuing engineering over the next 2 years. We're also finishing up the right-of-way acquisition as well on the highway side. In 2025 is when we're going to begin construction, and then we'll open the new bus division in 2028. So as we move forward, we're going to have several opportunities for community input. One of the first will be, how does the community want the Oldham side of the building to look? Maybe a green wall, maybe a mural. There is a green space on the north part of the site that MTA currently owns, and thankfully we don't have to put surface parking there, so we're going to be going through a design process for how that green space might look. We would like to get community input on how the intersections can be improved, and some features that would make it more comfortable for people walking and biking and using transit. And then also looking at the bus stop on Eastern Avenue and how that can be a better experience for transit riders as well. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Thank you. You have a question?
I have maybe a couple of questions. While this is being done, obviously you're going to lose access to the existing site, mostly. Is that going to affect service completely? Is that going to?
Yeah, I can answer in there. So basically what's going to happen during construction? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so during construction, since the site is going to be completely cleared, we are going to have the buses operating from the temporary Kirk site over in Remington. So all the buses that were operating during the construction of Kirk were over on, I think it was 25th Street in Remington. So that site, MTA is still leasing, and we'll have the temporary operations there, and then maintenance will just occur at the other divisions.
And my follow-up, will there be any sort of a transit hub associated with it? In other words, that Eastern Avenue site?
At this point, it's just a maintenance and operations facility, and there's no transit hub planned. There are going to be a lot of improvements through the East-West Corridor study and the RAISE project. So that study and planning process is still underway, so we're still not sure if it will be a transit hub, but I wouldn't say we should discount it yet, but we can't confirm that it will be yet either.
Super. Anyone else? Yes, John?
I didn't see any consideration given to riding a bicycle through there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So on the Ponca Street, which is it is a minor arterial, and it's considered an industrial zone. So we've been coordinating with Graham Young at Baltimore City and looking at whether bike facilities should be on Ponca Street. Since it is in an industrial area, they didn't recommend adding them. But on Oldham Street, that's more of a comfortable bike facility. Eastern Avenue, we actually are not impacting at all with our project. Our project is not directly abutting Eastern Avenue, but I think that would be a very good location for bike facilities. It's just, it wouldn't be part of our project, unfortunately. And then in terms of bike parking, are you thinking of that as well? Yeah, and bike parking, since we're going for LEED Silver, we definitely will include a bike storage and bike parking area as part of those credits. Yeah.
Any other questions from the floor? From our Zoom attendees? Quick check. Good. No hands up. Okay. Thank you.
And there was one last slide with this contact information if you
Let's post our contact information here so we can see that for future reference.
We're still finishing up the website, but that will be ready to go in the next couple of weeks.
There we go. Website coming soon, more details. So stay tuned. And that is all we have programmed for tonight. Does one last chance, does anybody else have anything to add for the benefit of the community? Okay, so as most people probably know, the Highlandtown Community Association does not meet in July and August. So our next meeting will be the third Monday in September. So it's a long time until we get together with this group of people, be they in the room or attending remotely. But that does not mean that the association will be not active. If anybody has anything that they need to contribute, concerns, things on a wish list, anything of that sort, everything can be emailed to us at highlandtown21224@gmail.com. That's Highlandtown, our zip code, no periods, no dots, nothing, at gmail.com. That forwards to me, and I will, either submit it to the rest of the board for consideration if need be, and we'll forward it to whoever we feel is the appropriate person and try to connect all the dots for you. So, again, we're off until September, but we are not dormant. We just look a little differently so we can all go on vacation. So with that, thanks to everybody for coming. Good meeting, good things to learn, good things coming. So there we go. Thanks again. Thanks for coming.